Imagine a man who could paint the heavens, design flying machines centuries before they existed, and peer into the very anatomy of the human body. We know him as Leonardo da Vinci, the ultimate Renaissance man. But the story of his genius is not one of effortless triumph. It's a tale of struggle, ambition, and a relentless curiosity that often left a trail of magnificent, unfinished dreams. Our story begins in 1452 in the small Tuscan town of Vinci. Leonardo was born out of wedlock, a detail that would shadow him for his entire life. As a so-called illegitimate son, he was barred from the noble professions and a university education. But what society saw as a limitation, nature saw as an opportunity. Freed from the rigid structures of formal schooling, Leonardo's classroom became the world itself. He wandered the hills of Tuscany, his sketchbook always in hand, capturing the flow of water, the flight of birds, and the subtle expressions on human faces. He wasn't just drawing what he saw, he was trying to understand how it all worked. This insatiable curiosity was the true engine of his genius. At around age 14, his father, recognizing his son's extraordinary talent, apprenticed him to the renowned artist Andrea del Verrocchio in Florence. This was the epicenter of the Renaissance, a crucible of art and innovation. In Verrocchio's workshop, Leonardo didn't just learn to paint and sculpt. He learned chemistry for mixing pigments, metallurgy for casting bronze, and engineering for creating stage machinery. He quickly outshone even his master. Legend has it that when Verrocchio saw the angel Leonardo painted in his Baptism of Christ, he was so humbled by his pupil's skill that he vowed never to paint again. But even as his talent blossomed, a pattern began to emerge. In 1481, he received a major commission, the Adoration of the Magi. He poured his revolutionary ideas into the preparatory drawing, creating a whirlwind of emotion and complex figures unlike anything seen before. Yet he never finished it. The canvas, a masterpiece of raw potential, was abandoned. Why? Perhaps another, grander opportunity had captured his imagination. A year later, Leonardo left the artistic hub of Florence for Milan, seeking the patronage of Duke Ludovico Sforza. He didn't introduce himself primarily as an artist. In a remarkable letter, he pitched himself as a military engineer, listing his abilities to design bridges, cannons, and armored vehicles. Painting was mentioned almost as an afterthought. For Sforza, he designed festivals, fortifications, and even a colossal bronze horse statue to honor the Duke's father. For 17 years, this project, Gran Cavallo, would consume him. He studied equine anatomy with scientific precision and solved immense engineering challenges to create the full-scale clay model. It stood over 23 feet tall, a testament to his ambition. But war intervened. French forces invaded Milan in 1499, and the bronze meant for his horse was melted down for cannons. The magnificent clay model was reportedly used for target practice by invading soldiers, and it crumbled into nothing. Another grand dream turned to dust. During his time in Milan, however, he did complete one of the most famous artworks in human history, The Last Supper. But even here, his experimental nature courted disaster. Instead of using the reliable fresco technique, Leonardo experimented with painting directly onto a dry wall. The result was breathtakingly detailed and emotionally profound, but the paint began to flake and decay almost immediately, a slow-motion tragedy that has required centuries of restoration. It's a perfect metaphor for Leonardo himself, a brilliant, fragile masterpiece, fighting against the ravages of time and his own unconventional methods. With his Milanese patron overthrown, Leonardo became a wanderer. He returned to Florence, where he entered into a famous rivalry with the younger, fiery Michelangelo. Both were commissioned to paint massive battle scenes in the Palazzo Vecchio. Leonardo's Battle of Anghiari was hailed as a revolutionary work of dynamic chaos and raw emotion. Yet again, he experimented with a new technique, trying to use wax-based paints that he hoped to fuse to the wall with heat. The experiment failed catastrophically. The colors ran, the scene was ruined, and another masterpiece was lost forever. All we have left are the preparatory sketches and copies made by other artists, ghosts of what could have been. It was during this period, around 1503, that he began painting a portrait of a Florentine merchant's wife, a simple commission that would become his most enigmatic and celebrated work, the Mona Lisa. For the rest of his life, he would carry this painting with him, constantly refining it, never considering it finished and never delivering it to the person who commissioned it. It became his personal obsession, a repository for all his knowledge of light, shadow, human anatomy, and the soul itself. In his later years, Leonardo found a final appreciative patron in King Francis I of France. The king revered him, not just as a painter, but as a philosopher and a sage. He gave Leonardo the title of first painter, engineer, and architect to the king, and a comfortable home at the Château du Clos Lucé. It was here, surrounded by his notebooks filled with incredible inventions and scientific studies, with the Mona Lisa smiling mysteriously nearby, that Leonardo spent his final days. He was no longer chasing commissions or battling rivals. He was free to simply think, to explore the universe contained within his mind. On May 2nd, 1519, Leonardo da Vinci died, supposedly in the arms of the French king. He left behind a handful of completed paintings, a few ruined masterpieces, and thousands of pages of notebooks. These notebooks reveal the true staggering scope of his mind: designs for flying machines, submarines, anatomical drawings of breathtaking accuracy, botanical studies, geological theories, the work of a man who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. So, what is the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci? Is it one of failure? The unfinished projects, the lost works, the dreams that never took flight? Or is it a testament to the boundless power of human curiosity? He showed us that the journey of discovery is as important as the destination. His life wasn't a perfect finished masterpiece. It was more like one of his own sketches, full of energy, brimming with ideas, and leaving us forever wanting to see what he would have done next. He teaches us that true genius isn't just about the finished product. It's about the relentless, passionate, and sometimes messy process of asking why. Thank you for joining me on this journey through a truly remarkable life. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into history's most fascinating minds. See you next time.